of the mercies of the I Am forever. With a mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. For I have said, mercy shall be built up forever. Thy faithfulness shalt thou establish in the very heavens. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant. Thy seed will I establish forever, and build up thy throne to all generations. And the heavens shall praise thy wonders, O I am thy faithfulness also in the congregation of the saints. For who in the heavens can be compared unto the I am? Who among the sons of the Almighty can be likened unto the I am? God is greatly to be feared in the assemblies of the saints, and to be had in reverence of all them that are about him. O I am that I am, God of hosts, who is a strong God like unto thee, or to thy faithfulness round about thee. Thou rulest the raging of the sea. When the waves thereof arise, thou stillest them. Thou hast broken Rahab in pieces as one that is slain. Thou hast scattered thine enemies with thy strong arms. The heavens are thine, the earth also is thine. As for the world and the fullness thereof, thou hast founded them. Yes, Hermon shall rejoice in thy name. Thou hast a mighty arm, strong is thy hand, and thy high is thy right hand. Justice and judgment are in the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go forth before thy face. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. They shall walk, O I am that I am, in the light of thy countenance. In thy name shall they rejoice all the day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn shall be exalted. For the I am is our defense, yes, and the Holy One of Israel is our King. Then thou speakest in the vision to the Holy One, and saidest, I have laid help upon one that is mighty. I have exalted one out of the people. I have found my David, my servant. With my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established. My arm shall also strengthen him, and the enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. I will beat down his foes before his face, and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him. In my name shall his horn be exalted. I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. And he shall cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, the rock of my salvation. Psalms chapter 89, 1 through 26. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20, a Psalm of Abram. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I am Mr. Clay, and we give God the glory. Even the I am that I am, and all the languages that we call him in that context. Oh, we give God the glory for all that he's done. We see the moving of that spirit that moved upon the water, upon the nations of the world. We see how he's shifting things and causing things to happen. And men of faithlessness, confidencelessness, do not understand it. All they understand is I'm getting richer, or I'm getting poorer, or these poor people are messing with me, and in most of the world, oh, these black people, we shouldn't have them, or something like that. But God had made things to be as they are. Now, when you, O Jacob, decide to get your act together, when you, O Jacob, decide that you're going to leave all the things that you've learned of the heathen and cleave to that which is of the Most High, even his statutes, commandments, and ordinances, and his 3 festivals every year, then we're going to see a great, even just the 3 festivals by itself, when the children of Jacob can come together without hypocrisy, without one wanting to be over the other. This denomination of what you call Israelites over this denomination. No, no, no. What happened? You're talking about a kingdom over a kingdom, mixed people, or people don't know who they are. Some of you are just plain old strangers. You're Hamites, you're Shemites, you might be Japhites. Wherever your lineage takes you, who's your father? But God knows those who are the seed of Jacob. Period. He knows who. That seed is never. It's not discontinued. It might have got a lighter, or it might have gotten darker, or a few DNAs, but that father, that seed, you can never change it. See, this is why male against male, because even in lands where you have mixed people, usually the victor is the one who has the baby either by illegitimacy, forced, or marriage, mixed marriage. This is how they do it. But it's usually the male with the woman of the seed of Jacob. And that does, women are transitional. But man, you whether you had that, you see, even David had relations with Bathsheba. But still God counted his seed. He didn't count Bathsheba, he counted his seed. But still you have to be careful. When a woman does not agree in the things that you do not agree, the Bible says, how can two walk together except they agree? In other words, even his son Solomon changed over to those things. He fell for the woman just like his daddy Adam. Now, we're in the book of 2 Kings. 2 Kings, 2 Kings, 2 Kings, hallelujah, 2 Kings. Yes, we're reading our history, the history of Jacob. This is the history of Jacob. This is the kingdom this is the kingdom that God was wanted to be an example unto the world of what he requires of all men. The chief thing that God requires of all men is that, number one, you put him, that you make no other, this is how you put him first. Somebody say, put God first. Don't even know what you're talking about. Put God first. That means go to church. People are confused. Put God first means thou shalt make no other God before me. Thank God for that person who come out and said, Exodus chapter 20 and 3. Yes, we bless God for you. And we thank God for all of you that have been with us. And we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those here and there's about, and those who've subscribed, and those who've just subscribed, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, being thankful to God for whatever or whoever. Yes. And in 2 Kings chapter, 11. We're in chapter 11. And when Athaliah, the mother of Hazael, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. Isn't that something? But Jehosheba, the daughter of the king of Joram, sister of Uzziah, took Joash, the son of Uzziah, and stole him from among the king's son, Ahab, which were slain, and they hid him even and his nurse in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. Now you have to realize, even in some African cultures, they still have this type of thing going on where a woman would be a royalty, she could be rich, and she would have her maids, and she would have her, and her children would have those who nurse him. Now these things still occur even this day. I don't know about any other culture, but I know what I understand and read and what I'm told as far as certain African cultures. Yes, on the African continent, so they say. And he was with her and hid in the house of the I Am 6 years. And Athaliah did reign over the land. And the 7th year did Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with captains of the guard, and brought them to him into the house of the I Am, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the I Am, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, this is the thing that ye shall do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall even be the keepers of the watch of the king's house. In other words, you're going to watch so nobody won't kill this child. And the third part shall be at the gate of Sur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So ye shall keep the watch of the house, that it be not broken down. See, we're not taking this stuff and going into your little crazy spiritual meanings, which don't mean a hill of beans, and it never occurred anyway. Oh, that means this, and this a third part. Oh, third part. Some of you would go part of, oh, better let's say third part of men, third part, and this is similar to it in the spiritual. You look at it through the spiritual eye. Forget that stuff. That's stupid. It says what it says. And if you can get any deeper meaning out of it, you will go to the original language, if you can find it. Well, a maze have been brought up toward the children of Jacob that God really set it up that you have to search for God. You have to search for God, and then as you search, it can only be revealed. Devils and demons and fallen angels and those who given to be lying spirits in your conscience, and that you might you pray the prayer of Abraham, that they have jurisdiction over your mind. They can sway you. They can't change you, but they can sway you to think dumb stuff with the I am, when his word says different. All this deep meaning and all that other stuff, this means the Bible is this and that. That's heathen talk. That's mysticism. They're getting you into an area that is no good. The Bible says what it says. It's commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. There is no other deep meaning to it. God is not that complicated. You are trying to figure out a way that you might still continue on in your sin. And think that you are more than what you are. All right, it's time to change that note there. Now, he says, in two parts of you shall go forth, in verse 7, on the Sabbath, even they shall keep watch of the house of the I am about the king. And ye shall, this is, I believe, Joash, yes. And he shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapon in his hand, and he that cometh with the ranges in him be slain. Within the ranges let him be slain. And ye be with the king as he goeth out and cometh in. In other words, he had bodyguards. Y'all be bodyguards now. And so, now this woman, she had a lot of power, being the mother of the previous king. Yes. She was the mother of the previous king. And he says now, in verse 9, the captains over the hundreds did according to all the things that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And they took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath. You have to realize, when we began to pattern our lives around the Sabbath, see, you have to realize the heathen and the fallen spirits has caused us to pattern our lives around our weekends. This is why some so-called Israelite camps go with Saturday. It's convenience, because the heathen, they accept that. Who cares? Do that which God tell you to do. You have to go to work. Some of you got to go to work on Saturday anyway. Come on here. You get in that Bible, you read it and find out when exactly. And it's not on the new moon. That's just like taking a 35-year-old and telling them they're a new person on earth. This is a new man after the 35th year of his life. A baby comes out of darkness into the light. The moon comes out of darkness and lights. God out of darkness created the light. Natural time. The evening to the morning is the first day. This is what God is talking about. See, we have some problems here. And they took every man his men that were come in on the Sabbath with them, that should go out on the Sabbath, and came to Jehoiada the priest, and to the captains over hundreds, and did the priests give King David spear and shields that were in the temple of the I Am. And the guards stood, every man with his weapon in his hands, round about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar and the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony. And they made him king, and anointed him, and they clapped their hands and said, God save the king. And Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and the people, and she came, this is the woman, and she came to the people, to the temple of the I Am. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and blew with the trumpet. Athaliah rent her clothes and cried, treason, treason, oh, I'm losing my power. I can't be the one who's sitting in the high places like my predecessor, Jezebel. Come on here. But verse 15, and Jehoiada the priest commanded the captains of the hundreds and officers of hosts, and said to them, have her forth without the ranges. In other words, take her away. And him that followeth her kill with the sword. For the priests had said, let her not be slain in the house of the I Am. Now she's an abomination. And they laid, either way, you should not slay a man in the temple of the Lord. I ain't talking about no churches. I ain't talking about no synagogues. I'm talking about, this was the temple. This is where the sacrifices and the holies of holies was. And they laid their hands on her, and she went by the way which the horses came into the king's house. Or should I say, it was a synagogue in a way. And there was she slain. And Jehoiada made a covenant between the I Am and the king and the people, that they should be the I Am's people, between the king and also the people. Also in the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal. Woo! And break it down. In other words, here come revival. As you church folks say, this is revival time. We're going to turn back to his commandments, statutes, and ordinance. This is true revival. When men and women turn back to the commandments, statutes, and ordinance, and commandments of the Most High, teaching their kids to do the same. It doesn't take churches. It doesn't take you missing your husband or your wife because you have church service. Do you not know the Levitical priests, they wasn't there 24/7. They had shifts in order that they ministered unto the I Am. They had shifts. So they were home. There were 3 shifts, should I say, or however they split those shifts up into the hours of the night, the first, second, and third watch, or whatever you want to call it. These were shifts to keep the incense going, to keep the candles going, to keep the sacrifice going. All these shifts. Yes. And Jehoiada made a covenant between the I Am and the king and the people, that they should be the I Am's people, between the king and also the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal and break it down, and his altars and his images break they in pieces thoroughly. In other words, they didn't want to leave not one little slither of this devil. And one day God shall raise up a people that shall take and burn every Christian idol, everything, every cross, every rock of the whatever you want to call it in Mecca or whatever. Take all the idols of these Far Eastern religions and these others who carry these things, and the Bibles that they have concocted, books should I say, to try to underhand the Most High, what people believe without question, and grind them to powder. That small stone, gonna grind them to powder, the enemies of the Most High. Yes, Christianity is an enemy of God. Anything that puts man, beast, idol, or whatever, or should I say statue, before the Most High, is an enemy of the Most High, period. There is no compromise with God. He's not going to compromise with you. Oh, but it's just, they call it an icon. That's just another word for idol. Now, an icon can be an icon. It's just a word play. But the fact is, you bowed yourself down before it. You think it up in praise in your heart. When there is no other God beside me, saith the I am, who possesses all time, space, matter, everything. The I am controls it. No, you try to make sure you can't know God by finding, but understand him and know him. And the only way you can do it is look at what he does. Just like I was hearing on the news, it was one cop who shot a pregnant. She by all chances, she could have been an Israelite woman. He shot her and she was pregnant. And I said to myself, now if that was Israel, he tased her. This was the one that tased her. He tased her in the stomach, and the baby eventually died. Through miscarriage. And if you read down in Exodus chapter 20 and you go a little further, you're going to find out if two men strive together. See, this is why I tell you, you have to really take the commandments of the Most High and apply them to the situation it amounts to. This cop would have been either put to death, fined for triple, maybe quadruple, or he would have had himself tased in his stomach that he might not even copulate with a woman. And it probably depends on the husband and what he says. And these things were backed by the Levitical priests and the armies of Israel. Just like some of you folks who call yourself supremacist. You call yourself backed by the police, and then you got the National Guard and all this stuff to back up your lie and your rage. Oh, you got a thing coming, and you bring it upon your own people. Sad to say, as long as they keep turning the cheek when you do your evil, they are just as guilty as you. Okay, let's continue. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal and broke it down, and they brake it in pieces and thoroughly, and slew Mattan the priest of Baal before the altar, and the priest appointed officers over the house of the I am. And he took rulers over hundreds and the captains and guards of all the peoples of the land, and they brought down the king from the house of the I am, and came by the way of the gate of the guard's house, and sat on the throne of the kings. And all the people of the land rejoice. They rejoice. And the city was in quiet, and they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was King Joash when he began to reign. Yes, King Joash. Yes, he began to reign. He was king over Judah. Yes, he was king over Judah. But God still be praised. He was of the seed of David. Tell you the truth, he was of the seed of David. Now, but the fact is that it went on, God looking for a seed in David that would be after his own heart. One that would not be swayed by women, and one that would not be swayed by devils. Because the fact is that we have to really understand that God is not playing with anyone. The government of the Most High is not religion. It is a government. Governing means govern yourselves. And he has entities that help govern those who would walk contrary. Not because they're black or because they're poor or because they're another hue. No. but according to the laws, statutes, commandments of the ordinances of the Most High. There are those who watch over it by appointment of the Most High. Yes, having no prejudices, no affiliations. Even family members are not even immune from the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, as we have seen throughout the Bible. Even the Ethiopian Bible, from the book of Enoch until now. One law for everybody, one law. See, this is where the world is getting ready to head to. It's getting ready to be destroyed, to tell you the truth. Once God has set up and showed man that he cannot rule man, that he, in all things, man is desperately selfish and wicked. If it don't look like him, if it don't smell like him, if it don't walk like him, he's got a problem with it. Not just white people. You got others that do the same thing. Look at back here. They all look the same. And you think just because your little 400 years has done something, man is just mankind, period. But God got a remedy for that. It's called judgment, then sentencing. See, we use the word judgment, but we use it loosely. God has a sentence, and there's a sentence already written. It's been written since the beginning. Yes, and that sentence was after see, this is why I can say the earth is not, or this time of the watchers is not 10,000 years yet, because he bound them in a pit for 10,000 years. He bound them. And when that 10,000 years is finished, then all of those that have walked after their ways and have allowed them or not prayed the prayer of Abraham and have not kept his commandments, statutes, and ordinances, because he says if you would turn from your wickedness and do that which is right, he's going to forget your wickedness. Not that you do something right and then go back to wickedness. He sees your heart before you even know it. So you have to understand your own heart too. I don't really mean that. I'm still stuck in myself. You have to be honest with yourself before the Most High. You really do. It's not that you are God. No. You have to be honest with yourself, because he see you as you are. In all your wickedness, you deceiving yourself. And then you have these outside forces that are deceiving you also. And with that, if we do these things and do it right, we will have peace.
Walk with me.